Well, topsy-turvy at the moment, this government grant. However many ICE vehicles you're allowed to sell is limited by how many electric vehicles you actually do sell. Whenever the government get involved in anything to do with the motor trade, they cock it up big time. Now, not only has this grant created massive uncertainty, it started all sorts of knee-jerk reactions as well. Now, just to kind of go into it, I've heard this morning, I don't know whether it's true, just hearsay at the moment, but I've heard the grant will only apply to, there's a few things that the manufacturers have to meet, but one of the things is that parts of the vehicle have to be made in the UK. Now, bravo, honestly. Having said that, I want the motor trade to succeed. Not only am I a patriot, but I want the motor trade to succeed. And the motor trade is being dragged down by Chinese vehicles, which are subsidised, and the UK is being bombarded by them. And I'm pretty sure that when they all go bankrupt, there'll be a load of crap cars left in the UK that nobody will be able to get parts for, and it'll be a real mess. So the legacy makers that have been supplying us and doing a good job for you know, decades, buy one of them. But also, already, Leap Motors have matched, I mean, Chinese vehicles, as I've said on numerous occasions, are made with dirty energy, from what I can see. Why would you import them all the way across from China to the UK when we're paying clean energy subsidy and it's costing a fortune, and we're importing cars made with dirty energy from China? It just doesn't make sense at all. So the good thing is that the government, it looks like, well, let me just go. Where should I start? Where should I start? Well, we'll go with this. There's just too much to talk about, honestly. There's too much to talk about, full stop. Chinese-made electric vehicles will not qualify for electric car grant by Gareth Roberts, 17th of July 2025. The government has suggested that Chinese-made electric vehicles, EVs, will not qualify for its new electric car grant based on the environmental standards of production facilities. Oh, Baz, you're a racist. You're a racist. You don't like the Chinese? Love the Chinese. I love Chinese food. I love Chinese people. I don't like people who are out to destroy the motor trade. That's it. I don't like people who were making garden tools a few months ago and then all of a sudden they think, oh yeah, I'll just get a grant off the Chinese government and then I'll make a load of EVs. I can't sell them over here in China because I won't make any money, but I'll export them to the UK. That's it. Muggins, well, I'm not Muggins because I wouldn't buy one. But then you get all these people go, I've got an EV. Oh yeah, it was made with dirty. Oh, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. They used clay. They waited till solar was up and then they made mine, and they shipped it over in an electric ship that runs off solar power. The new electric car grant worth up to $3,750 off a new battery electric vehicle, BEV, was announced by the government on Monday, July 14th. To qualify for the £650 million scheme, electric cars must have a recommended retail price of £37,000 or less, with 2 levels of grant available depending on the car maker's sustainability standards. The greenest vehicles in the band will receive up to £3,750. with Band 2 vehicles receiving up to £1,500. The electric car grant requires manufacturers to have committed to a verified science-based target, SBT, and have embodied carbon scores below a certain threshold. Speaking on the BBC's Today programme on Wednesday, July 16th, Transport Minister Lillian Greenwood, God, if she isn't out of her depth, I don't know who is. But from what I can say, it's not a specific criticism at her, because everybody I've seen in the Labour government is out of their depth. Lillian Greenwood said she did not expect any cars that are assembled in China to be eligible for the grant. The grant is restricted to those manufacturers that reach minimum environmental standards, she said, and frankly, if you generate a lot of electricity that powers your factories through coal power stations, then you are not going to be able to access this grant. It suggests that car makers that produce their vehicles in China, including fleet favourites BYD and MG, will not benefit from the subsidy because its car manufacturing and battery production industries are reliant on fossil fuels. It comes as new-to-market brands from China have achieved significant sales in the true fleet market in H1 2025. So, in the true fleet market, what do you think that means? Do you think that means that have actually sold, that have not just been pre-registered? Figures provided to Fleet News that true fleet sales for BYD, Amoda and Jayco have soared, while the performance of some established premium brands have suffered. Well, okay, if these figures have been provided, print them. But no. Here we go. BYD's true fleet sales were up 643% in the 6 months of 2025 when compared to the same period last year. How many? 643% means nothing to me. How many? You're not printed how many because it's a stupid figure and it'll look pathetic. That's why you've not printed it. It's just all Chinese propaganda. Okay, so it looks like China aren't going to get these subsidies. So what do? Leap Motors launches own EV grant as potential barriers for Chinese brands emerge. This is the 18th of July, I think that's today. Chinese car maker Leap Motors is bypassing the UK government's new EV grant scheme by launching its own self-funded incentive, offering British buyers up to £3,750 off its electric models, as uncertainty grows over whether Chinese-made vehicles will qualify for state support. The new Leap grant initiative provides immediate discounts across the brand's UK lineup, with the Leap Motor C10 family SUV receiving the full £3,750 grant, bringing its on-the-road price down to £32,750. The compact T03 city car is now priced at £14,495 on the road, following a £1,500 discount, making it what Leap Motor claim to be the most affordable 5-door EV currently available in the UK. Both models also come with 0% APR finance. Right, if you're watching Kia, as I say, I know you do, I know you watch. If you are watching, first of all, I'd like to say I think you're the biggest tosser I've ever seen in government. And there's been a few over the years. You're the biggest. By far. Unbelievably by far. But having said that, now what you need to do is put a tariff on. Because if they can knock £3,750 off the car just like that, then there is an ulterior motive. Give the legacy people a chance. Give the ones that are still made in the UK a chance. Put a tariff on these Chinese vehicles. Doesn't matter. With the tariff on the Chinese vehicles, don't pass it on to anybody. Just plant trees. Just put it towards the clean energy instead of making the UK consumers pay for it. Do that. Make chargers, put chargers in. Put anything that helps electric vehicles sell. Put it into research to hydrogen engines. Do anything. Do not let these people make a fool of the UK and drive the motor trade into the ground. They can't sell them. There's massive discounts in China. Okay? Well, what about this? Let's stop official imports. Let's do grey imports. Let's buy them in China and import them over here. Be a damn sight cheaper, wouldn't it? You can go on bloody Yahoo.com or whatever it's called, Alibaba, and these EVs, these little EVs, and they're a few £1,000. Now let's stop it. Let's just cut it dead. Let's cut all the crap about Chinese vehicles. Let's cut that dead. Let's start telling the truth. Let's start selling EVs to people who want them and whose needs they suit. Let's cut all this crap out, like, for instance, let's see, what's this one? See, Leap Motors jumps government electric car grant by slashing prices with its own scheme. It's already slashed prices.
The Chinese have already gone to battle stations. AM's sister title Fleet News reports that the government's stance has triggered concern among Chinese brands, with the Chinese embassy warning that such exclusions risk violating World Trade Organization rules. The UK should create a fair, non-discriminatory environment for investment, a spokesperson told Fleet News. China is closely following the situation and will firmly protect the legitimate rights and interests of its companies. So China, who say the UK should create a fair, non-discriminatory environment for investment, are subsidising their vehicles. They are killing the car makers that we've dealt with for years and years, who we've had good service from. Mark my words, if China succeeds and knocks these people out of business, they will then increase their prices even more. The UK is making them a fortune because gullible idiots are buying Chinese EVs, pretending they're making a difference to clean air in the UK when they've bought an EV that's made with filthy fuel, which is what they're all moaning about. The potential exclusion is particularly significant given the rapid rise of Chinese EV brands in the UK market. BYD, MG, JQ and Omoda are making major inroads in the fleet sector, with BYD's fleet sales alone up 643% in the first half of 2025. Together, emerging Chinese brands now hold nearly 8% of the UK's true fleet market. Well, again, 643% and 8%. What is the fleet market? What is the true fleet market? What is 643% is? Why do all our UK motor trade press keep blowing sunshine up these Chinese EV makers' arses? Why? Ask us, please, before it's too late. Ask yourself why they're doing it. Ask yourself why you can't pick up a magazine without some positive spin story on Chinese EVs. Ask yourself why.
So let's have a look at this. Electric grant news triggers surge in EV interest on Auto Trader. And CarWow have said the same. The maximum discount is £3,750. You're telling me that people who were searching cars at £33,250 before, all of a sudden, because there's a discount from the government or there's a subsidy from the government, all of a sudden there's a surge of interest. Let's have a look what it says. Honestly, I don't believe a word they say these days, Auto Trader. I just don't. Auto Trader has reported a sharp spike in consumer interest for electric vehicles, EVs, following the government's July 14th announcement of a new electric car grant. According to fresh data from the platform, the share of new car inquiries, now, are they actually inquiring about buying one? Or is an inquiry when somebody looks at a car on Auto Trader? Inquiries for EVs priced at $37,000 or less doubled. So 30,000 or less doubled overnight, rising from 15% on 14th of July to 29%. Rising from 15% on 14th of July to 29% on 15th of July. Now, surely what we should be looking for is the increase. What's the increase between 33,250, which is obviously what they were searching for before, to 37,000? What's the increase there? How many cars are in that bracket? How many people used to think to themselves, yeah, 37,000 is just a bit too much. I'll limit my search to 33,250 instead. The share of advert views in the same price bracket also jumped 7% to reach 33%. So there's more people looking at the same price vehicle than they were looking before. Wider EV interest was similarly boosted, with EVs making up 25% of all new car inquiries on July the 15th, up from 15% the day before. Now, let me just show you an interesting statistic here. So all new car inquiries, right? So if we go on to Auto Trader, and I think this might shock you, to be honest. So we'll put new cars, 21,917 new cars. All right. Let's look at the fuel types. Fuel type. Now look at that. There's 5,380 electric cars, new electric cars on there. There's only 6,394 petrol. 2,806 diesels, 7,314 hybrids, 21,896. 5,380 divided by 21,896. Where's my percentage key? Percent equals. So this 24% is a quarter of electrics, new on Auto Trader, quarter. So there's only 6,394 petrols on Auto Trader. There's 5,380 electrics. But yet petrols outsell electric over and over again. So why do you think that is? Because they're limiting the supply of petrols, aren't they? To try and make electric look better. That's the only reason, isn't it? That's the only reason. However many ICE vehicles you're allowed to sell is limited by how many electric vehicles you actually do sell. Because it's got to be 28% on it, or it's, well, 22%, they've even cocked that up. 22%, and then you've got all these, there's more hybrids than petrols on Auto Trader, because they count towards your target too. They're limiting ICE vehicles, because they don't want to give the government 12 grand. They don't want to have to buy carbon credits. You know, these Chinese manufacturers, the reason they can just lop £3,750 off them is no doubt at the end of the year, the legacy manufacturers are going to have to buy carbon credits off them. No wonder they can knock that off. They must be laughing at us. They'll be sat there, am I allowed to say that? I was just going to say they sat there eating dinner with the chopsticks, all laughing at us, thinking, ha, we're bombarding them with EVs. Our EVs are taking off, and they're having to pay us because we're stopping them selling vehicles in their own country or in Europe by selling them ours cheap, and they have to pay us because we're cocking them up and buy credits off us. They must be pissing themselves. Absolutely pissing themselves at Claire Starmer. Honestly, I can't believe it. And these idiots that are supposed to be all for the motor trade, what a load of useless tossers. They should just, all them lot, kick them out, clear your desk out, go on, get home with you, go and work from home. Do not, in fact, when you're working from home, don't do anything, just stay there. Because what you do isn't worth anything.
And focus on what you do. Nice sidestep on the do-do thing, by the way.
Hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
You're not doing anything. All these things should be brought to the front and tackled. Put tariffs on Chinese vehicles. Definitely do it. Wider EV interest was similarly boosted, with EVs making up 25% of all new car inquiries on July 15th, up from 15% the day before. So even though there's nearly as many EVs as petrols, there were only 15% inquiries the day before. And magically, it's gone up to 25%. Magically, anybody else suspicious? The share of ad views for new electric cars also climbed, reaching 29%, up 7 points in just 24 hours. Now, let me see. We've got to get to 28% and it's gone to 29% in one day. Ian Plummer, love Ian Plummer. Everything he says, I hang on his every word. I love hearing about Chinese vehicles and about, going to Chinese motor shows and how they this, that and the other and the technology. I love it from somebody who is just there, really, to advertise dealers' cars. I love it. It makes me proud. It really does. Ian Plummer, Commercial Director at Auto Trader, said, following the announcement of the electric car grant, the share of electric inquiries for new cars priced £37,000 and under doubled in a day on Auto Trader. The first time in months that demand has outstripped supply. Has it? Have they all gone out and bought them? Is there no new EVs left? Is that what happened? Because, you see, when you've got an advert and 50 people see it and don't buy it, means nothing. If you've got one car and you've got 50 people after it, that car goes up. All right? Supply and demand. EVs are going down. And the reason EVs are going down is because there are more cars than there are customers. Demand is not outstripping supply. It's not. Because if it were, the market conditions would force would reduce discounts completely on new, and it would drive the price of used EVs up. It's not doing that. They are dropping. Used EVs, Baz, I'm glad you asked. The first time in months that demand has outstripped supply. As it becomes clearer which cars are eligible and manufacturers rethink their pricing strategies to gain eligibility for the grant, we'll likely see sustained interest in this part of the market. No, we won't. And do you want to know why? Because they were giving 15 grand off before. What's 3,750? They couldn't sell them with 15 grand off. They can't sell used ones with 10 miles on at half price. It's going to make no difference whatsoever. Do you know what else it's going to do? It's going to destroy used residuals. It couldn't be any worse thought out. Okay, right. So nobody knows what they're doing. What date is it? That's the trouble with being retired. I never know what date it is. Friday the 18th. Friday the 18th of June. So nobody knows what's going to happen. So we're halfway through June. By the time they get this sorted out, it's going to be, and there's loads of EVs in stock. They want to sell from stock. They want to get them out. They've got to deliver them this year to get anywhere near this this stupid ZEV mandate. So they've got to get them out. So it's July, mid-July. Nobody is going to tax the car in mid-July because they'll lose half the tax. So that's going to be August. Who but an idiot would buy a car in August when the new registration is coming out in September the 1st? So basically the government have just killed 2 months new sales of EVs. But even, better than that, we don't know who's going to get it. If it's only the UK's or if it's only EVs that have parts from the UK, what are we down to? under 37 grand. And it's the retail price, don't forget. And the retail price, here you go, look at this. So, before, new cars, search, we want electric for a start, search. So there's 5,381 electric vehicles for sale. Before, what were they looking at? Vehicles, you know, if all of a sudden people can afford a £37,000 car because of this £3,750, before they must have been searching vehicles up to 32,250, mustn't they? Why has it gone up all of a sudden? For the 3,750, it's gone up so much, doubled overnight, because they're going to get another 3,000 quid off. Right, okay. Let's go. Let's just have a look. So, price. We go, the closest we can get here is £30,000. But, as we know, if we go up to the address bar there, I'm going to put in 32,250, search. Clear. So let's just go here and then we'll put price again, 35,000, search. We'll change the price bar there to 37, 2,148. So what have we got there? Up to £37,000. What are they? Well, let's have a look. Make and model, any. A Bath, Italian. Alfa Romeo, Italian. Alpine, BMW, BYD, Citroen, Cupra, Dacia, DS Automobiles, Fiat, Ford. So there's 76 Fords. I might make a mistake here, but 76 Fords. 76 Fords. There's 133 Fiats, 8 GWMs, 18 Hondas, Hyundai, Jeep, KGM, Kia, Leap Motor, Maxus, MEV, MG. MGs aren't made in the UK. Micro, Mini, Nissan, Omoda, Peugeot, Renault, Skoda, Skywell, Smart, Suzuki, Vauxhall, Volkswagen, Volvo. So how many cars, if it does come to it, and it's cars from the UK, how many extra cars have doubled the searches? How many can they actually buy? How many can they actually get that grant against? Again, we don't know. Which manufacturers make EVs under £37,000 in the UK? Nissan, Leaf, Mini, BMW, Mini Electric Cupra SE. I'd have thought that was more than £37,000, but could be wrong. Lotus, well, that's more too. Just as a final thought, to qualify for the £650 million scheme. Okay, now let's put that into perspective. In the last 18 months, it's cost the manufacturers £6.5 billion. So what's that? Is that 10 times more? In 18 months, it's cost them 6.5 billion to try and buy customers. Ten times more in 18 months. If you can get £3,750 off a new EV, what do you think that's going to do to used EV prices? Loads of used EVs coming back onto the market. Supply's up 52%. Actual sales, they say, is up 21%, which I don't believe. But anyway, even if it is, because they are bargains, they're absolute bargains. used EVs now. Compared to what they cost, they're bargains. But you still can't get them cheap enough. So now the new one will be £3,750. What's a used one going to do? Watch this space, because now I'm sick of saying this, the only way you get a flourishing new car market is to have a flourishing used car market. If there is no market for your vehicles second hand and they blow a fortune, you will not sell new ones. So, in my opinion, the government have got it completely the wrong way around, and they should be supporting used EVs that are, listen mate, they should be supporting used EVs that are made in the UK or parts in the UK. But why would they need to support them? Because they've already dropped a fortune. So why do they need support? Honestly, they have dug themselves in such a deep hole, they don't know which way's up. They just don't know which way's up. Everything is wrong. The only way to do this properly, remove the ZEV mandate, let them sell on features and benefits and suiting your needs. Let the customer decide which they want. Let them go out, let them test drive it. By all means, perhaps even paying motor traders, salesmen, not to sell vehicles, but to demonstrate them. In fact, they should put a gag on them. Just demonstrate them. Let's have a look at EV experts. EV experts, Auto Trader, 19 cars. Gosh. Again, preparation will be ready soon. So let's just see, go most recent, search 19 cars. Again, this, vehicle in preparation, that looks like it's a good sign. That does look like they're selling vehicles. That looks like a good sign too there. Plus 400. They advertised it on the 5th of the 7th. They haven't sold it. So on the 17th of the 7th, they've decided to put it up by 400 quid or 3%. Let's scooch to the bottom. There you go, 17th of the 7th. That's down 200. Don't forget, used EVs are stabilising because they're selling so well. Down 2,600. Minus 1,000, minus 2,250. Minus 2,800, minus 1,200, minus 2,600, minus 2,500, minus 250, minus 200, minus 600. And then we get to the plus 400. So I'm pleased for them because, to be fair, they've looks like they've invested in some new stock. I'm not sure I'd want 2 Polestar 2s in stock. Volkswagen ID7, 2 Volvo EX30s. There's a lot of these vehicles about second hand. Horse Simmons Limited, Auto Trader. 18 cars. He's been done a video saying that he's having to give over book for vehicles. White Teslas, 3 white Teslas, 2 grey Teslas. Looks like he's going all in on Teslas. He's doubling down on Teslas. Wow, there's a good selection of them. And I do like his photos. I do like his setup. Minus 1,500, minus 1,300, minus 400, minus 700, minus 1,100, minus 500, minus 1,500, minus 500, minus 500, minus 200. And that's where the rot gets arrested. But only 15th of the 7th, 25,495 already. I'm assuming he's watching his stats on Auto Trader about how many people are looking, and you know how many searches it's appearing in, and how many people are actually clicking on it, and making reductions. As I've said before, sometimes even £5 can make all the difference. So it's something we all do, not usually in as big a chunks as 1,800 quid or amounting to 1,500 quid there and 700, 1,100. But I'm afraid once we know which vehicles are going to attract this £3,750, then the used ones will be going south. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.